Late one foggy evening, James, a weary businessman, found himself stranded in a desolate part of the city after missing the last train. With no other options, he hailed the first taxi he saw. The driver, an older man with a somber face, nodded silently and opened the door for James. The interior of the cab was old-fashioned, with cracked leather seats and a faint smell of mildew. The taxi's meter flickered inconsistently, casting eerie shadows around the cab. As they drove through the thickening fog, James tried to make small talk, but the driver remained mute, his eyes fixed on the road. The silence grew unsettling. James glanced at his phone. His location seemed off, the street names unfamiliar. Suddenly, the taxi veered off the main road, entering a narrow, winding street enveloped in an unnatural darkness. James felt a chill creep up his spine. "Where are we going?" he asked, trying to keep his voice steady. The driver didn't respond. Instead, he turned to look at James through the rearview mirror. His eyes, lifeless and hollow, sent a shiver through James. "I said, where are we going?" James demanded, but the driver's face remained impassive, almost as if he were a statue. As the cab continued down the winding street, James noticed something peculiar. The fog outside began to form shapes, ghostly figures that seemed to move closer with every passing second. He turned back to the driver. "Please stop the car. I need to get out." The driver, now grinning unnaturally wide, whispered, "It's too late for that." Before James could react, the taxi screeched to a halt and the driver vanished. The door locks clicked, trapping him inside. James's heart raced as he banged on the windows, shouting for help. The fog outside thickened, now suffocatingly dense. Through the windshield, James saw the figures materialize more clearly, ghostly, translucent forms of people who looked confused and terrified, their faces twisted in silent screams. They reached out toward the cab, their fingers brushing against the glass. In the midst of his panic, James glanced at the meter. It had stopped at an exorbitant fare, and beneath it, a new message appeared. "Welcome to your eternal fare." With a final scream of terror, James realized that the ghostly figures were once passengers who had also tried to escape, now doomed to forever ride in this spectral cab. The fog pressed in, and the taxi seemed to melt into the mist, joining the ranks of lost souls condemned to drive endlessly through the city's ghostly streets.